The Switch 2 is out. Mario Kart is out. And honestly, I was not planning on making a video on it. I figured the first time I would talk about a Switch 2 game would be Donkey Kong. I have a history with 3D Donkey Kong on the channel, and that game looks amazing, and not only do I want it, I want to talk about it. Plus, considering my harshness on the Switch 2 and the things surrounding it, I figured that video would sum up my experience with the console up to that point. I figured this game would be a good time, something I would come back to frequently, but not something I would talk about outside of maybe a track tier list. But surprisingly, Mario Kart World has actually given me a lot to talk about. Plenty good, but quite a bit of it negative. So here's a short, relatively unfocused video on it. Mario Kart World is the first new Mario Kart in 10 years. It's the only Switch 2 exclusive launch title that's worth a damn. And it has been hyped up so insanely that all expectations were sky high. And reception has been mixed. Well, from what I've seen. I've been avoiding other opinions since I realized this would be a video. But people are a bit harsher on this game compared to 8 Deluxe, and there is a few reasons for that. To spoil some of this video, this game is flawed. In fact, I'm mostly going to be focusing on those flaws. And the flaws are pretty obvious, to the point where for a game being hyped up this much, it's odd they slipped through the cracks like they did. Second is, well, but honestly, I've already bitched about this game's price, and a lot of people aren't going to be paying $80 for it. They're getting it in the bundle or at a discount at specific stores, myself included. And here's the thing. I will touch on the game's price later. Not in the same way as my other video, but how it pertains to the overall reception the game got. I actually want to look at this game separate from the price. I think when recommending a game for consumers, considering the price is important. But as always, this is 100% my thoughts, not really a review, recommendation, or anything like that. And I would like to take the game on its own merits separated from that price tag. Plus, people are already upset enough that I bought a Switch 2, despite the fact that I said I didn't mind the actual console's price at all, and I only have issues with the price of things like accessories and games, neither of which I have paid or will be paying full price for. Of course, those responses were about what I expected. After all, none of you are nearly as smart as me, and I do hate you, but I figured I would clear that up real quick. I don't agree with this game being $80. I didn't pay $80 for it, nor will I ever pay $80 for any games. Now that that's been said, let's dig in. First things first, before we get into the main criticisms, we need to answer the question. Is Mario Kart World good? Yes. It's great, actually. I think a lot of the backlash this game has gotten for its flaws has kind of instilled the idea that this game as a whole is bad, but that's not the case at all. In terms of racing mechanics and track design, I honestly think this is the peak of the series. The game is slower, as people have pointed out, but honestly, this game was built around that slight decrease in speed. The same way that 8 is built around just how fast you can go. Nothing in the gameplay feels accidental. It doesn't feel like a slider is set too low or high, it's just right for me. Visually, the game is stunning. I've seen a lot of people say it looks duller or the lighting is more flat than in 8, but honestly that's just wrong. The art style really makes everything pop. I'll get more into that when I'm talking about characters, but the animations are all so much more bouncy. They have tons of detail and effort put into them. Each course adds to the art style, having tons of life in each and every one. The overworld has so many varying areas and details to see, and it never gets visually boring. The tracks are also insanely pretty. Starview Peak might be the prettiest course in the entire series. It's like if Rosalina's Ice World was actually Rosalina themed. You go through the observatory, you drive on the most insane water I have ever seen. I mean, look at this. Dino Jungle has all these active dinosaurs running around the stage. Drybones Burnout is a massive Day of the Dead level, and at night it is gorgeous. I remember when we first played this stage, me and my wife both said whoa like 80 times. Boo Cinema has a traditional haunted castle aesthetic, but then you enter into the movie screen itself and it turns into an old movie reel with wild visuals. This game's advertising heavily focused on driving around the open world and how vast the spaces are, and those are gorgeous, but the tracks are the real stars graphically, and there's not a single one that isn't gorgeous, especially with the dynamic weather. And the frame rate also never drops, but that's never been a problem in like any Mario Kart game, so I didn't feel the need to bring it up. But let's talk about those courses, because they're fantastic. There's honestly only like 2 I would say I dislike, those being Moo Moo Meadows and Desert Hills. The only reason being Moo Moo Meadows has been around for 10 years and this didn't change much about it, and Desert Hills is mostly the same and I never really liked it originally. Every other track, however, mwah. excellent, and they have a really interesting design philosophy compared to games like 7 and 8, where I feel like 7 and 8's tracks were meant to be really crazy and dynamic in a scripted way. Basically, most of the coolest moments all feel totally planned and set up. Here, they all feel more open for creativity and experimentation. This game has 24 racers per track, meaning that tracks are accommodating for a lot more happening than before. But the genius thing is, they don't simply make the tracks wider, they add a ton more ways just to finish it. Take Sky High Sundae. This was one of the most linear stages in 8, basically just going in a mostly simple circle with anti-gravity. I liked it because it was really chaotic, but here there are so many more ways up and down the hills. Even just in the mid-air moments, you could fly straight, go through this hoop, or you could aim for grind rails and go on a totally different path. The entire race is like this. Everyone's going different ways. It still has the normal Mario Kart chaos, but it feels like you're racing your own race in order to get an advantage other than just hoping not to get pelted with items. It's hard to name specific levels because the majority of them are just as genius as the other. If you were like me and you wanted more levels on the quality of Squeaky Clean Sprint, Ninja Hideaway, or any of those other really great original tracks added in 8's booster course, here they are. This game takes the design philosophies of those levels and goes nuts. Wario's Shipyard is now Wario's Galleon. You now race on top of the water, each person making use of different small areas across the map. Great Question Block Ruins is like if Cloudtop Cruise and Thwomp Ruins had a baby. Peach Beach is now a long 3-part race like Mount Wario, where you go from the normal race to racing across the waters. Bowser Castle has you racing through clouds made by a volcano. And oh my god, DK Spaceport. Similar to Peach Beach, it's a multi-part 1-lap course where you're climbing up an obstacle course with this giant Donkey Kong mech tossing barrels at you. It's like if they took the Excitebike level and really expanded on it, making it a huge roller coaster of challenges. It also shows this game's way of handling the 24 racers. These halls are tight, but with the new wall riding and grinding, everyone is making themselves fit in different ways, and it's so smart. That's another thing. Wall riding and grinding don't seem like much more than simple gimmicks, but there are even more ways to learn the tracks. Not every wall or grind rail gets you to the goal faster, but they can help you avoid items. If you're in the middle of a gigantic chaotic bunch, they're a safe answer to not get hit every 5 seconds. They're another way the game introduces player-specific creativity to every race. And Rainbow Road. Spoilers, by the way, from Rainbow Road. If you don't want to be spoiled, close your eyes and your ears. This might be the best one in the series. I need more time with it, but my god. It's visually gorgeous, it has incredible music, and it really feels like a grand finale. You've got the stained glass rainbow areas, a spaceport referencing 8, more of that amazing looking water. Then at the end there's a train with all the different characters like the DK mech and the dinosaurs in it passing by. It's wonderful. It's also a very well designed track that, like I said, I do need to play more of to fully judge if it's my favorite, but it really is something special. The racing overall is really special. I'll be digging into the overworld a little bit more later, but the tracks in this game, along with the racing mechanics that come with them, are great. They do have flaws, less to do with the tracks themselves and more of how the game wants you to actually race on them, but we'll get into that later when we're discussing the areas of the game with flaws. But in terms of just pure gameplay, I can't get enough of this game. I love it. And if they can fix the few problems I have, I would like this game above 8. But first, we need to discuss said flaws, which I would say come in the context of other features of the game, so let's get into those finally. Let's start with that roster. A lot of people have expressed dissatisfaction with both character choice and roster size, and I can understand the points. 8's final roster was perfect, a massive celebration of Mario Kart's history from the DLC, but also just a ton of choices as a whole. Here, we still have a ton of choices, but they seem a bit odd. We get series mainstays, I guess Baby Rosalina is one of those now, plus a massive section just for oddball picks. Some new ones like Nabbit are shoo-ins, but we've got Conqueror, Spiny, Sidestepper, just odd choices who got in over characters like Diddy or Funky Kong, over Petey Piranha, over King Bob. I'm sorry. But not only that, the main roster gets tons of costumes, which we'll touch on, but these extra guys don't get any. Well, honestly, as much as I would love every single one of these guys to get tons of costumes and every character to be a perfect inclusion, I think there's good reasons why the more out there picks got in. This is the first Mario Kart game with an actual divide in its roster. What I mean is, you've got what I guess you could call main characters, the main roster, and then you've got the extras, the ones with less focus on them. The way that I see it is similar to how something like Smash Brothers uses clones. The main characters got the most development time. They've got detailed costumes, more animations, the ability to change outfits and such with items. They clearly had a lot of love and effort put into them, but I think realistically, when most of the development time is going into the open world, the track design, and the mechanics, characters can't eat up that much time. And I think that's why these two distinct sections between the main cast and what I've heard being called the creature cast were created. Having all of these characters with less animations needed while still giving them unique stats and fans of them a chance to play as them is the compromise. If you had a roster the size of 8, all with different costumes, in a game we've already waited years and years for, it would delay the game a lot more. And I guarantee you they wouldn't have given us characters like Cow, Pianta, or Charge and Chuck. And I, for one, love that I can play as characters like Coin Coffer. If I had him! Sorry. We'll get into that in a minute. Along with that, the main cast gets so many costumes out of the deal. Yeah, a lot of them are from Tour, but they're still pretty great. Toad gets a burger hat. Toadette has this adorable ice cream outfit. Yoshi gets to keep all of his color choices, but now they're all in different costumes that complement them. Wario and Waluigi get so many perfect ones. Wario in a wife beater or a bee costume. Waluigi's mariachi outfit might be the best one in the game. All of Rosalina's are great. Finally seeing her in casual clothes and even a more regal dress. All the princesses get fantastic stuff. And it even makes baby Rosalina not feel pointless because look at her tourist skin with the sleeves that are too long. That's adorable. It's so good that my wife mains her now, and she never gave a damn about this character before. And my man King Boo came out with some of the best in the game. His aristocrat and pirate skins are both absolutely fantastic on this new expressive model. And that's another thing. Despite this game not being a huge leap from 8 from a pure graphics perspective, these character models are so much more expressive. Remember how in Mario Wonder, even though it had a similar style to the new Super Mario Bros. Series, it looked a ton better? One of the reasons for that is how expressive the characters had become. They had a lot more squash and stretch, they emote a lot more, and here, that's all taken to 11. It's a shame we mostly see characters from behind because there's so much emotion in facial expressions. Just look at how much Bowser Jr.'s face emotes just from selecting him. Every character has that amount of flair. All of them have so much characterization and personality in every action they do. King Boo is a circle with a face and arms, but look at how much more personality he has here than in 8. They even all get unique blue shell throwing animations where they really put their muscle into it. All of the trick animations, hits, and even just how they sit in a cart or on a bike have so much more effort put into them than previous games. This is why I'm okay with having less big time characters than in 8, because the ones here have so much love and effort put into them. I would rather have them wait to potentially add someone like PD Piranha until they can really dump that kind of effort into him. Don't get me wrong, that effort goes into the creatures too, but due to a few factors like simpler designs, smaller models, and lack of limbs, their additions very obviously require a lot less effort. They still look great, still have cartoony features, and I understand thinking it's unfair they don't get the same amount of love, but if they did, they wouldn't be here. I think it was a totally fine trade, and I think there's actually potential for more, but like adding future characters, I'll touch on it soon. Despite how great these costumes are, despite me not minding the absences of some characters, and despite not minding the creature characters getting less, this shit still ain't perfect, not by a long shot, so let's get whining. First off, while the outfits are great, they aren't exactly equally distributed among those that have them. And before you say anything, I'm actually not complaining about certain characters getting way more than others in general. Characters like Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Yoshi, Wario, and Bowser having so many doesn't bother me. They're mainstays. They're the most likely to be picked, so of course they're gonna get a lot. I'm talking about the ones who feel like they got weirdly left out at times. For a minor example, Baby Luigi. Each baby princess has 5 outfits. Baby Mario has 4, but for some reason Luigi gets 3. And what's weirder is that the 3 he has are shared with Baby Mario, so him not getting that last one is really weird. Yoshi got all of those colors, but Shy Guy and Birdo lost theirs. They have skins, but only on their base color. I don't think you needed to add 7 colors from both, but them only having 3 outfits with no color change is kinda lame. And of course, what the fuck happened with DK and Pauline? I'll get into what their lack of costumes could mean later, but for now this just sucks. They each only get 1, and Pauline literally only gets a biker outfit instead of an actual costume. It makes no sense because DK has this expressive, fun new design that Nintendo really wants to show off, and yeah, his animations are great, but he gets no referential outfits, no silly costumes. He just gets this costume, and that's it. And new design or not, DK is a Mario Kart mainstay. All the characters who have been here forever get a lot of costumes. Even someone like Koopa got a lot. So this just felt wrong. Even if what I'm gonna predict later is true, them only having one each is just an insult. Like Birdo having very few, that's pretty lame. Dry Bones getting demoted to creature so he doesn't get any costumes, even lamer. But the lack of costumes for both a new mainstay and a classic character who just got a redesign is really disappointing. Also, like I said, I don't mind the creatures not getting costumes, but it makes driving through food places feel very unimpactful. The speed boost is nice, but it feels like something is missing. Like, you couldn't have had like a few shared hats between all the creature characters so people could customize them and feel unique. I think that character outfits give people a lot of reasons to try out a character they may not have otherwise in order to check the cool skins out. But with creatures, what you see is what you get, which while I don't mind, I think just something small and silly shared among them like hats or sunglasses would have completely fixed the issue. Speaking of the creatures, unlocking them straight up sucks balls. You start out with a hefty amount, but in order to unlock more, you have to do a few specific things. 1. Be racing. 2. Get lucky enough for someone behind you to get the Kamek item. 3. Hope they use it quickly before you end up behind them. And 4. Hope it turns you into a character you don't have yet. The Kamek item isn't just for unlocking things. Similar to the lightning or blue shell, it's meant to fuck with people in front of you as it spawns stage hazards. Similar to those items, it's pretty rare. But the issue is, you see those items at least once per race. Kamek? Nuh-uh. I think I saw him maybe once every 3 or 4 races. He's the rarest item in the game, which when it comes to unlocking characters is insanely frustrating. And it's random what you even get turned into. Yeah, the stage will have an effect. Certain characters can only be found in certain stages, but the effect isn't as strong as you would think. You could still get a character that doesn't fit an area if the odds aren't in your favor, or hell, maybe they are in that case. This is ridiculous. With costumes, you can find where each food item will appear in the open world, but as far as I know, this is the only way to unlock creatures, and while I'm glad unlocking every character isn't as simple as just doing Grand Prix, this is way too random and way too frustrating. But the actual biggest issue with the characters isn't the costumes or unlocks. It's the thing literally everyone has complained about since the first time we saw in-game previews. It's the actual character select. Who the hell thought this was a good idea? Every character is in these massive bubbles that take up too much space, and each costume gets its own slot, meaning that entire pages will be taken up by 1 or 2 characters for multiple pages. Mario and Luigi take up over 2 pages just on their own, for example. And if you want to get to the creatures, that's well over 10 pages to swipe through just to get to them. And the only way to customize it is you can either have it be organized in a way where it feels random, or one that has every character and costume near each other, which I think is better, but it has the issue with the picture sizes at its worst. I don't understand why it can't be like 8's menu, which was big but comprehensible, and any character with costumes would have them in a tab when you click them. I don't understand how after 9 games they broke something that was never broken, but it still happened. And yeah, it is just a menu, but in a game with this many characters, you'll spend a longer time getting to the characters than actually looking for them or deciding who to pick. And even if the problem is small, it's a microcosm of this game's main issue, which is, as I mentioned, there's these weird flaws that aren't game ruining, but I don't see how when they were this obvious, they went ignored. This could be fixed in an update, and I hope it does, but it's weird it was here to begin with. On to another subject. Let's talk the open world, because I feel like it connects with the other main issue I have with the game. But first, positivity. The open world, honestly to my surprise, is wonderful. The environments do a great job in being interesting and never staying in one place. I'm always a sucker for being able to see massive structures in the distance, and seeing this game's massive tracks on the horizon or the environment changing to match the course you're near never gets old. It's like when you're a kid going to an amusement park and you can see the largest roller coasters from a ways away and you immediately feel your heart pounding. One of my favorite things to do is just drive, see a course nearby, enter it, practice my pathing and learning it better. Then when I've had enough, just leaving and going somewhere else. The open roads are never super simple. There's always new obstacles or unique terrain. It's like the city tracks from 2 and 8 were just testing grounds for what this could be. It's also full of references to other tracks that aren't in the game. DK Summit, Mount Wario, Ghost Valley, pretty sure I saw Mushroom Bridge in there. It never feels dull to travel through, and the challenges are fun too. They aren't anything crazy, but there's so many that it feels like one is always around the corner. But they do come with a small caveat. The world map tells you how many you've completed, but not where they are. So you'll know that in this massive chunk of land, you're missing something. You just won't know what direction that thing is or where it is. It doesn't help that the minimap is so limited. Like, come on, man, give me some settings. It's not a huge deal. Honestly, the minimap is the smallest flaw here, but it's just another thing that I just kind of question why it's not better. Also, please give us a jukebox. The open world has a ton of music tracks, most being remixes from every corner of the series. other Mario Kart games, Galaxy, Odyssey 64, it is an amazing soundtrack that you have no control over. If they let you build your own playlist like in Smash Bros, that would be amazing. But for now, the music is great, but that's another missed opportunity. But unironically, yeah, I love the open world. It's not just a gimmick, it's actually really fun to experience, and I can see why they advertise it so much. Except, maybe they were a little too proud of it. Now, that's a weird thing to say, but it really is both a blessing and a curse. See, this game's gimmick is that everything is interconnected, meaning you can drive from one course to the next, and the roads themselves are designed like racetracks. This is because you actually do drive between them, and it's a gameplay style I've seen especially mixed opinions on. Because driving to courses is neat, but the way it's set up feels a bit odd. Once a stage ends, it's not as simple as you driving over. The next race will start, then 2 of your 3 laps are spent racing through the open road before the last lap is the actual track. This means that you don't really get to experience the full track, and you spend around the same amount of time actually getting there instead of just racing on it. What's disappointing is a lot of these tracks change each lap. For example, Dino Jungle. More and more dinosaurs escape the complex until during the last lap, tons of them are stomping around and breaking through walls. But in something like Grand Prix, you only experience the last lap. It's a good lap, but you just feel like, man, wish the whole race was here. Now, in Grand Prix, I don't mind it much, honestly. I see it as a way to sample both the overworld and the courses one after another before really digging into them in Versus Mode. And Versus Mode is where this style really shines. When you choose a stage, you can do either a normal 3-lap race or drive from that course to a different course. It makes the amount of different race combinations go up to an insane degree and really adds to replay value. The issue really is, these courses are just so good. I know it's a weird complaint, but unironically, they're too good. They're so fun. You feel like every new run, you're gonna learn something. There's less courses than 8 currently has, yes, but I would say the majority of these stages rival the best of 8. But you won't entirely realize that if you're playing with this gameplay style. Only getting 1 lap in most of the races isn't enough to fully experience it, to really sell you on it. I think they knew that too, because levels like Peach Beach, SNES Mario Circuit, Rainbow Road, and DK Spaceport all make you do the full race after driving to them, because they're the Mount Wario type of race, where it's all one big lap. And I think that overall was a mindset here. People loved races that are all one big lap, so let's make every race like that. But the difference is, the roads aren't as insanely good as the tracks, so it feels like half the race is so much less than the other. There are certain drives that are fantastic, basically anything to or from Starview Peak is incredible, but it never hits the heights of these tracks, which means you never feel totally satisfied. It's like going to a restaurant and getting 2 good appetizers, but then getting an entree that's the best food you've ever eaten. You would rather have just had more of the entree, or you wonder why you didn't get the entree only. Honestly, this isn't a massive problem to have. As I said, you can choose to either do it this way or just do 3 laps in a course, except this game's biggest problem rears its head here. This is the only way to play on online mode. If you choose the normal online play, it's similar to 8's, where everyone votes on what course to do next and it randomly selects one. However, here, you select courses near you on the map, which sounds neat, until you realize that it's always to drive to them and then spend 1 lap there. This is really disappointing because online is where you're really going to be trying to get better. You're gonna want a lot of time in these levels, but instead you're spending a lot of time driving to them, getting a taste and moving on. There's ways around it. Sometimes it lets you vote on a course that you can't drive to, or random will automatically select one like that, and when that happens you get a normal 3 laps in the course. The issue is that those races feel few and far between, and you feel like you're not exactly getting the experience you voted for. What's also annoying is you can end up doing the same few tracks over and over again. Because it's sectioned off specifically to only courses near you, there are certain courses that I just never play on online. I never get Airship Fortress, I never get Bowser Castle, I never get Dry Bones Burnout, because for some reason, I don't normally end up in the top left corner of the map. What's even more annoying is that they had another mode for driving to different locations, because Knockout Tour is right there. Its main focus is driving through large swaths of the map as people are picked off, and the small track portions are placed there as extra challenges. Your main course is driving through an open world to get ahead, so it doesn't feel like you're wasting time that you wanted to use in a course. But this makes both modes blend together, which they honestly shouldn't. And if I'm being truthful, I don't actually think they should just change this to normal 3-lap races. I think this type of race has its place. Maybe it's because I've warmed up to it the more that I've played. Maybe I don't care enough, but these races are still a ton of fun. I've ragged on it a lot, but it's not like half the race is bad and half is good. Half the race is good and the other half is really good. I have fun with these and they have their place, as I said. And fuck, man, the fact that online lobbies are now driving around with everyone you just raced with freely in the open world is genius. That's so much better than the last few games. But the fact that there's not an option to do normal races, the fact that when you play local versus, it's beautiful. So many options and ways to do a single race, but here you're locked to a mode you might not even like, feels like an oversight. This game will live and die by its online. There's a reason that 8 Deluxe always had people playing, because it was so simple and easy to just race. And I feel like this game now has a snag attached to it. Don't even give me a choice when I choose a stage if I want to drive only there or not. Just give me 2 modes. One where you drive to a stage and one where you play it normally. Best of both worlds. And it would be so easy to implement. This is what I've been talking about. None of this stuff is awful. None of it is game killing. It's just so weird that obvious things like this weren't thought of. I'd assume the game was rushed out, but it clearly wasn't. The gameplay, courses, music, and open world are all polished. It just feels like obvious features for quality of life were ignored without thinking of how it would affect the game in the long term. But that's another thing. These things don't make a bad game. They hold it back, yes, but they don't ruin it. Why exactly are opinions on this game so extreme? Could there be some secret reason that people are being so harsh? I'm bullshitting. It's the price. Of course it's the price. This game is not only $80, but it's the launch title for a $450 console. People aren't going to just criticize it. They're going to see how much you're charging, the fact that you need a new console, and every small issue is going to feel massive. I didn't pay $80 for this game. And as I've said, I won't be paying $80 for a video game, but I'm not going to pretend that this game or any other game is worth that much. And to be honest, despite me trying to be fair in my critiques, if people are going to feel more extremes about their opinions because of the game's situation and price, so be it. I have no issue with it. Be as unfair as you want, because the pricing sure is. I'm being fair to the game on its own merits, but I'm not going to pretend it deserves it. One final thing that I want to mention is what could be added to the game in the future and what I would like. And here's the thing, I am going to be talking DLC, but hear me out. It's pretty obvious this game will eventually get some. It's Mario Kart, they know it'll make bank, but here's how I'd rather see it handled. This game is such an easy target for some great free quality of life updates. If they did things like adjust the character select or add that mode I talked about to online or slightly tweak the world map, it would be a really good step in the right direction. Nintendo obviously doesn't deserve good faith, but that'd just be a cool thing to do to make the game better. I could also see them adding new costumes and even creatures for free. Imagine if when Donkey Kong Bonanza gets released, we get those obviously missing Donkey Kong and Pauline outfits. Or what if the game did what games like Mario Tennis Aces did and just drops massive character packs occasionally filled with new creatures? Because these guys clearly took less development time. They would be easy seasonal additions and nobody would complain about that. If there has to be paid DLC, which I would really like that to be free, like seriously, this game is the price of 8 Deluxe and its DLC combined. The DLC should be fucking free no matter the size. But the big time updates with tracks, that's when the new main character should be added. As in the Mario Kart mainstays, who would come with large amounts of animations and costumes. This is where those missing characters should return. I am not saying they should do paid DLC. I'm saying there should be small updates with creatures and costumes and big ones with new courses and main characters. And if they're even thinking of charging another cent for this game, it better be booster course amounts of content with like an entirely new open world. But I mean, if people watch this, they're gonna say I want to pay for DLC for this game because I'm a cuck or some shit, which like, you don't even know that. I mean, if I am, it's definitely not for Nintendo of all people. It's weird for me to be so negative here, considering how much I really do enjoy this game. Most of the time, if I'm being this negative, it's for games that if I gave number ratings, I'd be giving like a 4 or below. But ignoring this game's ridiculous price that I hate and don't think you should pay, this game is like an 8. A 7 at its lowest. But with these tiny adjustments, it'd be a straight 10. Without a doubt, my favorite Mario Kart game. This video was more of just me expressing those gripes because weirdly enough, because this game is so good, those issues feel like they stick out more than they would in a worse game. It's like, I just want to keep having the insane amount of fun this game has without the dumbass drawbacks that feel like oversights. And I know I'm not the only one complaining about them, so I really, really hope this video ages like milk. I hate this game's circumstances. I hate its price, and I hate it small flaws that constantly feel like annoyances, but I don't hate this game. My wife and I have been absolutely consumed by it. It is a legitimately quality good time, and if it wasn't only available on a new console with not a ton to play at launch, and if it wasn't $80, I would recommend it even as it is now. But if it can fix those problems, then after the console gets some more games under its belt, and this game is on sale, I would totally say it's more than worth the purchase. Mario Kart World is a great game, but it's easy to see how it could have been better. Me, however, I'm only gonna get worse. Or at least I would. But I'm never coming back.